everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Zan Perrion, and he's a writer, speaker, and a romance artist at Ars Amorata. And I'm so excited to have him here today because he's worked with thousands of single men, so he really knows what men think and want from women. So he's going to give us the secrets today. What's the best way to start a conversation with a man? But before we jump into this great topic, because ladies, I know you want to know how to do this, Zan, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you.
Well, okay. I'm Canadian, and my unique story is that I was raised in the wilderness of Canada in the north.
Wow.
Nobody knows this. Well, I guess they're starting to know it now, but till I was 19 years old, I didn't have running water. I didn't have electricity. I had moccasins on my feet. I lived in a teepee for my summers, and I had a knife on my side, a rifle on my back, and that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I grew up completely in the wilderness. I know how to survive in the wilderness, what plants to eat, what kind of, I can catch fish with my hands, that kind of stuff. And so when I came out of that, to make a long story short, when I came out of that, the wilderness into a city, which was Vancouver at the time, which is basically the first city I'd ever really seen, at 19 years old or so, I was completely bewildered, lost, and had no clue about social dynamics, for instance. But I loved girls. I loved women. I wanted to know more and more and more. And I spent all those years since then, embarrassingly so, trying to understand the heart and spirit and essence of the female, the concept of women. And so I've been a student of women my entire life and all those years since. And so, for 12 years, I've been coaching men. I use the word coaching loosely because I'm really just trying to inspire guys to be like men again. And
so what's the difference between, because you call yourself a romance artist and you're not a pickup artist, and I want to make that very clear to the ladies because I have a disdain for pickup artists. What's the difference between a romance artist and a pickup artist?
Well, I think, Suzanne, a pickup artist is trying to obtain something. He's trying to take something from women. He's trying to
manipulate women?
Yeah, he's trying to use all kinds of tricks and techniques to whatever to try and to get to the other side of the fence, and skirt around. And a romance artist says, I'm a man, you're a woman, and that's a good thing. And I really like that. And I will approach you with my hands in the air. I'll ride up to the walls. I'm not the enemy. I'm here. I'm definitely a man. I'm not a woman. I'm not on the interior sphere of a woman's of your place. But I'm a man. I would like to know you. And it's the difference between a romance artist and a pickup artist is empathy and authenticity, and I very strongly believe in that.
That's great. All right, well, let's jump into this topic of how can a woman start a conversation with a man? Because I get this all the time, is when I tell ladies that, first of all, men are afraid of rejection, and so that's a big reason why men don't approach women. And I always tell women, well, sometimes you got to help a guy out and approach him and start a conversation on your own, and they always get this look of, oh my God, you want me to do what? And so how can a woman start a conversation with a man without feeling like, oh my God, and, having that same feeling of possibly getting rejected?
Suzanne, I'll make a comment about that because I've been all over the world for years, and I've been talking to men's groups and women's groups. And even we think cultures are different, but they're kind of different, but not really. The men all over the world are saying, we can't understand the women, and we're afraid of them these days. And the women are saying, where's the real men?
Right.
Who's going to step up? And so the problem that women face is that they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. In other words, if they don't go and approach a man and say, hello, what's your name, etc., they go home alone, and the man goes home alone because the men are not doing their job. If the men aren't stepping up and saying, wow, there's a pretty girl over here. I'm nervous, but I want to say hi to you. And so the men are not doing what traditionally we've done for centuries, which is like go up awkwardly and talk to girls. They stand there with their beer in the corner with their buddies, and they watch the girls walk by, and everybody goes their separate ways. So the women the women have to, or I get this question all the time from women too. Am I supposed to approach the men because they're not approaching me?
Right.
And the problem is if you do approach as a woman, then you kind of lose, because even if you marry the guy and have a relationship with him, where was he? Why did he not step up and show up? Right. Why did you have to do, why did you have to hold up both sides of the role, both sides of the equation? Why did you have to show up and say, I would like to talk to you? Where was he? So, and if you don't do that, then you're left aside.
Right.
So that's my first comment on that. And and I hear it all over the place. Women are saying, oh, we're trying everything, and the men are not saying hi. And so it's now our job to do that. So we're going to do it.
Right.
And so, and the advice you probably give, Suzanne, is like, there's a smiling, inviting, pleasant aura that only women can give.
Right.
And I think the best way to start a conversation with a man that I would say to women is, it's as simple as that. It's like to walk up and say, I was over there, I saw you over here, and I wanted to say hi. A simple exchange.
And that doesn't make her seem too desperate? Because that's women's biggest fear, is that they'll appear desperate if they approach a man.
There's an essence of women that, how do I say it? I'm just talking about my experience with women who've approached and talked to me. There's a sweetness in it. There's a sweet spirit in a woman coming up and being shy and saying, I wanted to say something to you. And I'll say this, men respond to that. Now, they may not be attracted to her, they may not be, she might be not their type, etc., but they respond to the sweetness of that exchange, I guess you could say, which is an authentic exchange, which means I'm a woman, and I spend my entire life trying to be guarded and be careful, because I can get it taken advantage of. So I don't want to be vulnerable here, but at the same time, I would like to extend myself and open myself, which is being vulnerable. And please don't stomp on that. Be a gentleman. Be open and kind to that. So it's a difficult thing. I'm telling you, it's a difficult thing for women. They have a bad row to hoe, if you want to say that.
Well, sometimes what I'll tell my clients is you just have to open the door. And so sometimes it's not as much as being so forward. If you want to be less forward about it and more subtle, is sometimes I tell women you just have to open the door. And when I say that, it means you have to ask a question or just start a conversation, and preferably if he's right next to you in your
of course,
close proximity, because then it takes away the fear of having to approach him. So ladies, if you're at a bar, what I say is just make a comment about something he's drinking or give him a compliment, because then it's just a genuine comment or compliment that you're giving, and then he knows it's okay to talk to you, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's 100%. Like, we hear this thing that you should, in an elevator, the advice is you should always try and strike up a conversation in an elevator or say a comment or something like that to get you more out of your shell, be more social. Now, places like New York or, Toronto, for instance, that people are like, huh, you're talking to me? I don't understand this. But I think the problem that women have, and I keep going back to this, is that men are so tone deaf today that they can't pick up on the signals of a woman. Women have dropped the proverbial hanky for centuries.
Right.
They've been right? And guys are supposed to pick up on the signals and et cetera. In other words, we think it's the man's job to initiate, but it's really the women who initiate by dropping signals. Women are broadcasting constantly to the world. When they're single, they dress up in a nice dress, they go out with their girlfriend, they go dancing, and they're broadcasting, they're signaling that I would like to meet somebody. And the guys are they don't pick up on the signals. They've forgotten how to read the signals. And so, I don't know, I'm talking on the bigger sphere of it, but the only thing is the basic conversational skills, which is to strike up a conversation with a man or strike up a conversation with a woman. Now, them being afraid that they're going to be construed as needy, I don't think so. If their spirit is genuine, they're sweet, and they're generous in their spirit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell women. If you go in with just the intent of meeting people in general and
Exactly.
stop trying to, oh, I want to meet that guy because he's hot or whatever it is, or I'm interested. If you just go with the intent of wanting to meet people in general every time you go out, and I'm not talking just about bars, I'm talking about everywhere that you're at, that's what's going to help you break the ice. Like you said, you made a really good point, is in the elevator, we're all trained to not talk to anybody or make eye contact. And it's a good exercise for women is when you get in the elevator, make a comment or talk to somebody, and that will help you start to break the ice with people, because then when it comes to the guy that you really do want to meet, it's just going to come more naturally.
Yeah.
So
no, I think...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's like, we've got this societal thing that's overarching the earth right now, where we're suspicious of each other, and we're like, I mean, we used to meet in like churches and in our little towns and like the girl next door and this kind of stuff, and now we're so globalized and so international, and we have this kind of like suspicion because of all the hurt we've had in the past, and the problem is the tide has to rise all the boats. Like, it's, if the women are becoming more open and conversational, and but the men are not, then they're going to get hurt. If the men are not doing that, then everybody loses. So it's a big topic.
Well, it is, and I think the point here is, ladies, you just have to open the door and stop being so afraid, and practice it every day. Don't just practice it when you just go out to the bars, because that's going to put too much pressure on you. If you do it every day and it becomes a habit, it's going to become much easier to start a conversation with the man that you're interested in. So these have been some great tips. So Zan, tell our audience how they can find you.
Well, my website is zanperrion.com, ZANPERRION.com. I wrote a book called The Alabaster Girl. It's available. And it took me 10 years to write it. So you can find me there. Like, if you Google my name, you'll see me. So
awesome.
That's great.
That's great. Well, congratulations on completing the book.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. If you like our show, it's available both in video and podcast format. You can view the videos at singleandstilettos.com. You can get the podcasts at iTunes. If you'd like to get our free report on the top 10 secrets on what attracts a man and what turns him off, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.